I talked a lot last week about New Zealand maybe changing its priorities a little bit, or China helping them change their priorities. They're part of Five Eyes, but they wouldn't sign up to a joint statement about Hong Kong. There was the ministerial comments late last week. How important is it that New Zealand is all in on Five Eyes, not trying to keep an eye somewhere else as well?
I'll make a couple of points. The first one is what they ultimately signed up to with China only brings effectively their trade agreement to where we already were. But the Five Eyes is really important, and so are liberal market democracies. The OECD, Matthias Cormann, who we put forward, he's doing really well. We're in the last couple now, which is, it's fantastic. But all of these countries need to align more. There's another view about how the world should run, and then there's the view that we hold as liberal democracies, free market democracies, business-led economies, and on security issues and intelligence and how we work together to support our region and see them be sovereign and independent, that we can keep open seas, that there aren't parts of the world's oceans or seas that are inside and outside clubs. And this is very important, not just to Australia, but all liberal democracies. I don't take the view that, every system's as good as the other. If that were the case, we'd flip a coin each day and decide which way we run the country on, are we going to run on an authoritarian regime or a liberal democracy? No, liberal democracy all the way forever. Right. And we got to continue to maintain our vigilance over this. And to do that, we've got to stick together on this stuff. It's very important.
Do you believe Google is going to pull the plug on Australia?
I tell you, Microsoft would be pretty happy if they did. Talking to Satcher, who runs Microsoft, Bing would go off. So, no, look, I'm going to be having a chat to the head of Google very soon again. I've spoken to them before. We're just trying to find a way through here. Neither do we want everybody stuck in the courts forever either. We'll just find a sensible way through here. But the thing about the digital world, and we've got kids, I worry about kids online and all of this, as we all do. It can be a very unsafe place. And, the golden rule for me is what happens in the real world has to happen on the digital world. Just the same rules. You can't behave in an uncompetitive way. You can't, abuse people and carry on like a goose, although plenty seem to. I don't think you should have a rule necessarily against all of that, but you're still being a goose. And we have to ensure that world, which is increasingly part of our lives, runs on the same set of rules. And a lot of the regulation, how taxation works, antitrust, competition laws, they've got to catch up. And, you can't have these platforms with a business model which is about being in the Wild West forever. The sheriff turns up eventually, and they might go through a few of them, but I tell you what, the sheriff eventually gets the rule of law and pace in this world. And it's very important it does, because our media, and as much as you and I both love them and at the same time may be frustrated from time to time, that's a good thing. And it's important that our commercial media, not just the taxpayer-funded media, is present and thriving, and because that's what upholds liberal democracies.
Bloody oath.